feast your eyes on this. How awesome is this motorcycle, guys? If you don't know about the Suzuki Hayabusa, Suzuki changed the motorcycle world in 1999 when they unleashed this beast, and this is what it has evolved to. Third generation, 2024, 190 horsepower, absolute beautiful motorcycle. We got so much to talk about when it comes to this bike, maybe even some behind the scenes stuff here at Suzuki, so stay with us. Speaking of that, I believe my friend from Suzuki, here he is, Mr. Felix Teodoro.
Jack,
thank you so much for having us. You know, just like you, I'm a huge motorcycle fan, huge Hayabusa fan, and this is a real pleasure to be standing in front of this. I got to ask you, what does this mean to you? We're celebrating Hayabusa homecoming. You look at all these models throughout history. I talk about the GS and all the special bikes, but very few make it to 25 years. What's this mean to you guys?
Yeah, for Suzuki, it's a heritage for the company itself, having this Hayabusa in the lineup still for 25 years, and it speaks on the lineage of what the product is.
It really does. I'm a proud owner. I have a Gen 2, also have a Gen 3. I can't believe the advancements that you've made on this motorcycle too. It's not like you guys are just sitting back resting on your laurels, that with the electronics and the sophisticated system, we've come a long way from 1999, haven't we?
Absolutely, absolutely. With the overall aesthetic of the bike, and then as well as you mentioned, the electronics on the bike just make it that Gen 3 even better than the past.
I got a problem that I want them all. Every time you unleash a new paint scheme, I want them all. I think you have just done a beautiful job with this. Gen 3 body, which is quite a bit different than the Gen 2. It still has that streamlined wind tunnel rocket ship like look that the Hayabusa's always had, but there's a lot of changes with the Gen 3 body. Do you know how long Suzuki was developing the Gen 3 body?
This is ever since the Gen 2 came out. It was already developing what we can do for the Gen 3, making very minimal changes, even to the mirrors, to make it that much more stable at high speeds.
Wow. I love the way it looks, and I got to shake your hand over one thing and say thank you, because if you're a Hayabusa owner like me, you know that the fairing has to come off to change the oil on the Gen 1 and the Gen 2, and we're changing oil a lot if we're putting miles on them. With this bike, check this out, guys, a big improvement. There's a piece of the lower fairing that comes off right there, so you can get to your filter and change your oil without having to take the whole fairing off. Thank you very much for that. I appreciate it.
Yeah, you're welcome.
But one of the coolest features here is what we're seeing in NHRA Pro Stock Motorcycle. Because people who watch this channel know some of the legends, John Myers, Dave Schultz throughout the years, Matt Hines, Gino Scali, everybody who's won on Suzukis. It was great to see Suzuki come back full force in the NHRA, and they did something that I've been calling for years. I said, please update these bodies. We had great Suzuki bodies on there, but we're running TL1000s, which I don't think Suzuki's made since the early 2000s, right? So not only did we need to get with the Hayabusa, we needed to get with the Gen 3, and Suzuki really had a major part in this. Tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, so that was a year in the making. So ever since we came back into NHRA last year in 2022, we made a commitment with NHRA to really invest money into the program. And with the help of the Vance and Hines team and everybody at NHRA, we developed a Gen 3 body that really mimics what exactly you get on a street bike. And that has given us strides in competition, as you can tell with Gage and,
buddy.
And Eddie.
Holy, season to remember.
Exactly.
You're not making any friends on other makes, though, that's for sure. Gage is absolutely killing it. You couldn't ask for a better season than that. I had the pleasure of being in Gainesville, Florida at a test session before the Gators when they rolled it out. And immediately, as a Hayabusa owner, I went up, I shook Eddie Krawick's hand, shook Andrew Hines' hand, and said, guys, kudos, this is awesome. And I also think it's so important to racing in that we want those bikes to look like the same bikes that you can buy on the showroom floor. And the old adage goes, and Terry Vance knows this better than anybody, win on Sunday, sell on Monday. Do you think Suzuki is bearing the fruits of everything that's going on out there right now?
You know, it is a long-term plan for Suzuki to be in an NHRA, and with investing money into the Pro Stock motorcycle class, I think we are seeing dividends, and especially going every other week to have our displays there, I think it's bringing Suzuki back on the map. even if it's just a handshake of, hey, this is a new motorcycle. Even if it's not even a Hayabusa, it could be a dual sport, it could be a sport bike, it could be an adventure bike. Whatever we can do to bring attention to Suzuki. NHRA has done a great job to welcome us with open arms. And yeah, I think it's paying dividends now. And obviously it's a long-term project for us. So whatever holds in the future is good with us.
Well, speaking of the future, that's what I got to wonder. See, when this bike came out, I just had it in my mind. I loved it because I'm a drag racing guy, but I'm thinking this is going to be one of those bikes that lasts 4 or 5 years. Never in a million years did I think it would make it to the 25th anniversary. What do you think the future of this bike is? How long can we go here? How long can we run?
I think the sky is the limit for this motorcycle. Like I said in the beginning, the lineage of the Hayabusa is, and the development of this bike, I think it's everlasting. I think with Suzuki and, like I said, the heritage of this motorcycle, and especially with the factory in Japan, this is going to be our flagship bike for years to come.
I love to hear it because, you know, like one story I always talk about when I go to different auctions is there was a bike from Harley, the V-Rod Destroyer, that was a direct from the factory drag bike. It was the only time the factory ever offered a drag bike, but I say that's excluding the Hayabusa, which is almost a direct from the factory drag bike. Talking a little bit about that, you know, I'm not too old, but I know in my day, a 9-second street bike when I was growing up was fast. Now, what's it make these guys think internally that you can make a couple modifications? If you got somebody with a good clutch hand, this thing's going right in the 8-second zone.
I would say easily. You've seen a million YouTube videos out there, especially with Chris Moore.
Very good rider.
Doing his thing on his bikes and making those bikes 7-second bikes. And they're this weekend at the Hayabusa Homecoming, he's going to do a couple runs on his bikes, and we'll see how fast he goes. That's
going to be very exciting to see. Well, I understood you're also losing your mind because you're going to let me ride this. Is this true, or is there's not a hidden camera in here? Or, how much escrow money do I have to put aside to ride this? Only because we are in California. I know there's some scary drivers out here. So
there are. But here in Brea, California, you should be fine. There's a couple hills that you could go over, and you'll have a blast on it.
Oh man, I really appreciate it. Now, if you could you just give me a tour of some of the other features? Maybe there's people out there that haven't gotten close to this bike yet, don't really fully understand this bike. Can you talk about some of the upgrades and some of the features on this machine?
Gen 3, you have the SIRS, Suzuki Intelligent Ride System. So you could choose power modes, traction control, ABS settings, all within the toggle of your left handle switch. And you just cater to exactly what riding style you want to do.
Very cool. Now the motor really hasn't changed. That is just, you know, that's like the small block Chevy, the Hallmark, 1340 cc's, finely tuned. You really don't need to do much to that. You got power galore there. What are some of the other changes? We know the body, chassis has been refined a little bit.
Yeah, it's been lengthened just a little bit for stability, especially some people actually like to bring these on track. So the length of the chassis, more stability on the corners and more stability on the straights as well.
I know the quick shift program is something that a lot of people are really big fans of. I'm sure you've heard good feedback about that, right?
Yeah, so the quick shifter up and down. It also, you could even disable it for the purists as well.
And how about the electronics too? I had to laugh the other day. I was at my buddy's shop in Uniontown, Pennsylvania out at GMS, and it threw a wrench. And I'm like, uh-oh, service light, what's going on? And it was just simply to remind me. It was my yearly reminder, check over your motorcycle. And I thought, wow, we have come so far from the first gen Suzuki Hayabusa. It's amazing. It's amazing how sophisticated these are. And we're talking about fly-by-wires as well, right?
Correct. Fly-by-wire throttle. And then, like you mentioned, with the shop reminders, the TFT display in the middle with the analogs on the sides, that wing. You have the classic analog that people still like to see, the revs and the mile per hour. But like you said, the shop reminder on the TFT display will make it really user-friendly for a lot of people.
It tells you exactly when you need to change your oil, exactly when you have a service issue. It's like a modern car. It's amazing how far you guys have come with this. I love it. Yeah. I think another thing too, you correct me if I'm wrong, that has made this bike last is I talked about how this is almost a direct from the factory drag bike, but it's so versatile. Some will complain about the weight and how thick it is. And yeah, let's be honest, it's not a GSXR 1000, okay? You're only gonna get that out of that bike. But I would say, considering how its weight, it is still a very nimble bike. I've been through corners on this. I've been through canyons on this. I've been through tight roads in Maryland. I've been through tight roads. I've been out here in California on the PCH. It's amazing how this bike corners and performs.
Yeah, like I mentioned, some people bring them to the track. Some people have it as a canyon carver in the weekends. And then some people use it as a grand tour. It's that comfortable. It's not too far forward. You're pretty neutral on the controls on your hands. So people ride hundreds of miles on these bikes. Absolutely.
I love it too. Some people see me on this bike too, and they might be on small bore bikes, and they say, oh, you got something to prove, kid. You got a complex. But I said, another great thing about this bike is it has so much torque. You can hum along at 3,500 RPMs all day. You don't have to have it screaming. It's there when you need it. Yeah. And my personal philosophy on the road is I always think that's something that helps keep you safe. That some people see bikes like this and they say, oh my gosh, what are you going to do? And I'm saying that throttle's there in case I need it. In case I got to get out of a bad situation. This bike is so responsive and it's so quick when you need it. It's amazing. I love it. Love the signature exhaust that you have here too with, you got the 25th anniversary insignia on that.
Yep.
That is pretty cool.
It also has on the chain drive, the Hayabusa kanji as well.
Now I know a lot of owners, first thing they'll do is they will take the exhaust off, right? Because you guys are limited on what you can do with emissions and everything. We know Vance and Hines coming out with a new pipe, one of the many choices. But I gotta admit, call me crazy, I kind of like the stock exhaust too. I got two, like I said. One's got a Brox pipe on it. The other one's gonna stay stock. I think of this too when I go to make them. I don't know if you've caught wind. But right now, a stock Z1 exhaust or even GS exhaust, because everybody took them off and threw them away. Yep. So they're buku bucks because nobody can find them. I wonder someday, will it be like that, especially for a 25th anniversary?
I think so.
I bet a lot of guys, even if they want to change exhaust systems, are going to have these things wrapped up tight. Man, really cool. And one thing I want to tell you too before we start this thing up and go for a ride is just returned from Daytona, Biketoberfest, okay? And I'm always looking for Hayabusas. Usually I don't see too many, especially if I'm at Stur. Stur, just forget about it. This year at Daytona, I saw more Hayabusas than I have seen in 15 years. And I don't know if it has to do with the 25th anniversary or everything coming full circle, because what we know is the motorcycle industry, we've seen baggers everywhere for the last 5-6 years. Baggers. But you wonder, is the trend starting to change? Are we coming back to sport bikes now? Because this bike hasn't been out that long, the Gen 3. And the amount I've seen customized already, impressive.
Yeah, I hope so. And when March comes around, I hope in Daytona Bike Week, we see even more Busas.
Oh, I love it. Well, we're gonna fire this thing up, take it for a ride. After that, if you don't mind, I don't want to take up too much time, but I'd love to know a little bit more about what it's like to work here at Suzuki and maybe see a little bit of behind the scenes stuff, guys. How about that? Hope you're loving it. If you know anything about the Suzuki Hayabusa, if you have one, if you ever wanted one, drop it down below. The only downfall, and I'm not going to call Suzuki out at all for this because, hello, welcome to inflation, welcome to, prices going up. Quite a bit more than the original one. 1999, I believe it was about $10,000. Correct. Now we're a little closer to $20,000.
Correct.
Don't want to tell you what I got my 2014 for. Out the door, $8,500. How about, yeah, I had to use every trick in the book to get that one. My new one though, no, but still say the way money's going, worth absolutely every penny. Yeah. We see that with the motocross bikes behind us. Every bike across the board is going up. Yeah. It's not back in the day where you could buy one for $1,000 in the 70s, right? Yeah. So, awesome. Well, if you're okay with this, are you sure you're okay with this?
I'm okay with it.
You need my wallet or anything?
Maybe a drop of blood on a contact.
You know where to find me. All right, man. Well, I'm not going to take it for any passes, luckily, unless we go down to Pomona, unfortunately. But cool. Let's make some noise, guys. Yeah. Oh, wish me luck, though. Wow, that was so awesome. Yes, guys, no hole shots, no burnouts, nothing crazy. Wanted to respect this motorcycle and respect this opportunity. And if you break it, you buy it. Okay, not that I would be concerned about having another Hayabusa, but that was awesome. Corporate setting out here. Just the fact that I rode a Suzuki at Suzuki, that's a bucket list item. So I really want to thank Felix and everybody for letting me jump on this thing. And it feels just like my Gen 3. And my big takeaway as soon as you come off this bike, if you've never ridden one, is just this smoothness. It is so smooth. Such a great bike. And how cool is this paint? I love it. Well, as promised, let's meet back up with Felix here in the main entrance, because as if riding a Suzuki Hayabusa in Suzuki wasn't good enough, we're going to try to take a little peek behind the curtain if he lets us, but I know people were busy and there's a lot of employees here, so we'll see what we can get away with. We promised you guys a little peek behind the curtain, so here we are this is the lobby.
This is the lobby
Of the USA headquarters of Suzuki. I see a lot of cool stuff. What are we looking at here?
So we got a lot of our POP displays, some product images.
What's
here.
POP?
Point of purchase displays. So anything you see at a dealership, you have displays of motorcycles, a product that we have that are available for purchase. That's our new V-Strom 800 DE
Oh,
Adventure.
I've heard a lot about those.
Yeah,
I've heard those are awesome.
Yeah.
I have to go take a look at it. A question I have for you too, though, is there's no manufacturing done here, correct?
No manufacturing done here. We do have a ATV factory in Marietta, Georgia.
Okay.
Rome, Georgia, excuse me, Rome, Georgia. And that's ATVs. Motorcycles are all produced in Japan.
So this is all from Japan. Is
Correct.
there any assembly by you at all?
No assembly here in the United States.
Really?
Yeah.
Because I know when a dealer will get a bike, sometimes there's minor things that they have to do. Is there anything at all that you have to do?
You have to do the regular setup from a dealer. It's all the motorcycles are in crates. So like these side bags that you see on this motorcycle, they won't have the accessories on there. So the dealership would actually have to install those accessories onto the bike to make it complete.
Very interesting. So the fact that there's no manufacturing or assembly here, I'm sure a lot of marketing, a lot of media. What other type of employees or departments do we have here at Suzuki?
Yeah, so we have administration, government relations. We have a gamut of other different departments that are here that concentrate on the sales of motorcycles.
Very cool. Well, if you don't mind, let's go see this wall. I heard there was an NHRA Wally in
There
here.
is.
We're not going to tie you up too long. I know he's a busy man. He's got to work. But come on, guys. Let's
Yeah.
continue to take a little peek behind the curtain. Now, what do we have in here, by the way, in this conference room? Because I understand there's a Wally in here.
There is. There's a Wally from
take a look.
2021, the
Take-
4-wide National
Oh, man. And
by Steve Johnson.
I got to give props to my man, Steve Johnson. One of the greatest marketers out there would figure that his Wally is here personalized and autographed. Steve is always good at giving back to his sponsors and the industry like that. Steve, by the way, has the Gen 3 Suzuki Hayabusa body on. That is pretty cool. Felix, for those that are watching, wondering, how much does little things like this mean to the manufacturer, the sponsor? Because Steve's always been great at giving back like this.
Yeah, he's been an awesome advocate for Suzuki. We've supported him for years, and this year especially, he's got a win under the Gen 3 bodywork as well. So just little tokens of appreciation to Suzuki and the manufacturer. I think it goes a long way for the partnership.
Very cool. Now, did you tell me Ken Roxon's #1 plate is actually here?
Yeah, from 2016, we do have a #1 plate for him.
Man.
And since he's still a Suzuki guy, we're behind him all the way. And now with him going into 2024, we hope we have another #1 plate in the making.
Let's see what we got. Oh, yes, we do. Come take a look at this beauty from the Lucas Oil Pro Motocross Championship. How about it? Ken Roxon. So when you work here, being a moto guy, is this like, when you're watching your favorite racer out there, is this like cheering for your favorite football team? Does the whole company just come together?
Absolutely. When Ken Roxon was first in the grumblings of coming back to Suzuki, I was a kid in the candy shop just posting videos and hoping that he actually comes. And when he was testing the bike and when he finally signed the dotted line saying he's coming back to Suzuki, it was just, it was actually a dream come true for me to see him come back to a manufacturer where he had some wins.
Another reason why this is such a cool place to work. All right, well, I don't want to get you in trouble, but if there's any more we can see, can we take a little bit of a peek?
Let's go take a look.
All right. Felix, I can tell as we walk through here, very, very proud of this motorcycle, right? The V-Strom?
It's our newest street variant of the V-Strom 800 DE, and everybody's been loving it.
Wow, take a look at this showroom. Look at this picture behind me here. The Hayabusa, it's not a GSX-R 1000, it's not a RMZ. I think it's pretty safe to say they're proud of the Hayabusa here to put it up on the window, huh?
Yeah, it's like I said, the flagship motorcycle for Suzuki, and I don't think it's going anywhere anytime soon.
There's so much to see here, guys. This is awesome. What a great day. Was that awesome or what? Felix, I want to thank you again, taking me behind the scenes. Hopefully we didn't get you in trouble here.
You should be fine.
I know, you know, behind closed doors at a major OEM, you always wonder what can you show and what you can't. But this is what we really wanted to show. And again, I just can't tell you how special this week is. Hayabusa Homecoming, 25 years, going to be an awesome display out in the NHRA. You got a lot of employees coming out for that?
We do. A whole team's going to be out there. Sales team will be out there. We'll have tons of goodies for people that are coming out to NHRA race on Saturday. 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. we'll be out there. We'll have our display out there all weekend. So come out, enjoy.
It is so awesome. It is so awesome. So awesome to be here too. That my first real dirt bike was a 1995 RM 125 that I loved. I got to find another one someday. Had to sell it to continue to get new Suzukis. As I told you, I own 2 of these. Love them. Great motorcycles. Guys, we told you we were going to give you a peek behind the scenes here at Suzuki, and we did. If you've owned any Suzuki motorcycles, I want to hear about it down below in the comments. I want to know your all-time favorite Suzuki and why, and I want to know what you think about this awesome machine. How many years will we go with the Suzuki Hayabusa? Will we be here for the 50th? We'll find out. Well, I got a little present for you. It's a small token compared to what you've given me, but I'd like to get everybody all stickered up here with the Cycledrag decals. Thank you very much, man. I really, really appreciate it.
I have a couple for you, too.
Are you kidding me?
Yep.
All right, look at this, guys. Look at this. 25th anniversary Suzuki Hayabusa decals. That was so awesome. Felix, I appreciate it, man. You are awesome, guys.
You're welcome.
Go to your local dealer. Check this bike out. Walk away with one. You're going to do the same thing that I did. You're going to fall in love with it and realize, yeah, I need it. Thank you guys so much for coming along with me. If you like that video, here's another one for you. Subscribe right in the middle, and you know if there's anything fast motorcycles, we're in from Suzuki headquarters. Cycledrag rolls on.